Welcome to this presentation about the National Action Plan and how it relates to the Cayman Islands Legal Practitioners Association. We're going to start by looking at the background, the timeline within which we're working, the framework which has been put in place, the action plan, looking beyond the action plan, and what we hope the outcome will be. In December 2017, the Cayman Islands underwent its fourth round mutual evaluation report on-site inspection by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. We were assessed on 40 recommendations, which is the technical compliance aspect of the examination, and on 11 immediate outcomes in terms of how effective we were in using that framework. In November 2018, the report was discussed at the CILPA plenary in Barbados. The report was finalised in February 2019 at the FATF plenary and was published in March of this year. As a result of the gradings given in that report, the Cayman Islands is subject to two parallel processes. The first is the CFATF enhanced follow-up. The second is the FATF ICRG process. Due to the fact that the Cayman Islands received grades of low or moderate on the 11 immediate outcomes, and due to the fact that we meet the threshold of US $5 billion for the M3 figure, we have fallen automatically into this pool. Effectiveness is an item that's difficult for many jurisdictions to establish. The observation period in which we're in began in February 2019 and ends in February 2020. In September of this year, the Cayman Islands will submit their first follow-up report to the CFATF for the purposes of that parallel enhanced follow-up process, and that report will be discussed at the November 2019 CFATF plenary. In March 2020, following the end of the observation period, the Cayman Islands will make their initial submissions to the joint group. Thereafter, there will be a face-to-face meeting with the joint group where the post-observation period report will be discussed. It will then be provided to the FATF ICRG and discussed at the June 2020 FATF plenary. If the FATF ICRG and the plenary are satisfied that the Cayman Islands has made enough progress, then we will remain subject to the CFATF enhanced follow-up process only. If it is determined that the Cayman Islands has not made enough progress, the Cayman Islands will provide a high-level political statement, in which case the Cayman Islands will be assigned to the compliance document, also known as the Grey List. The Cayman Islands has implemented a framework in order to ensure that sufficient progress is made. The Interagency Coordination Committee and the Anti-Money Laundering Steering Group were organisations or committees that existed previously under the statute. However, they have now been mandated to meet each month, and a ministerial subcommittee, which didn't previously exist, has been created and is chaired by the Premier, demonstrating the high-level political commitment of the Cayman Islands to this process and ensuring that monthly monitoring takes place and that action is taken immediately where deficiencies need to be remedied. The National Coordinator was appointed in March 2019 in order to coordinate responses to the action plan and the duties of the various committees. The action plan addresses the recommended actions contained within the mutual evaluation report. There are a total of 63 recommended actions across the 11 immediate outcomes. The Cayman Islands must demonstrate that sufficient progress has been made, also known as positive and tangible progress. In relation to each recommended actions, the relevant agencies have been identified. For some recommended actions, there may be, for example, 6 different agencies who have a role to play. For each recommended action, a lead agency has been identified. Some of the issues are cross-cutting. For example, a financial crime focus group has been established in order to ensure that there is coordination between the Financial Intelligence Unit, which in the Cayman Islands is the Financial Reporting Authority, the Financial Crime Unit of the Police, the Anti-Corruption Commission, Customs, and it's chaired by the Acting Director of Public Prosecutions. This is to ensure that financial intelligence is properly used, shared, and developed. There is monthly reporting by each agency and also by the Financial Crimes Focus Group. In relation to the recommended actions, under immediate outcome 3, supervision, the recommended action is that the jurisdiction should appoint an AML-CFT supervisory authority for lawyers. This also appears in other areas, such as IO4. The Cayman Islands Legal Practitioners Association was designated by Cabinet in February 2019 as that supervisory authority. It must now demonstrate its effectiveness in registering the lawyers, conducting a risk-based approach to supervision, and ensuring that supervision is in place. In relation to the cross-cutting actions, we already mentioned the Financial Crime Focus Group chaired by the ADPP, which will also meet monthly. There is also an Anti-Money Laundering Regulations Working Group chaired by the Anti-Money Laundering Unit, who is considering and making proposals on how those regulations will be amended to ensure that the Cayman Islands is fully compliant with its international obligations. In relation to the monthly reporting, this will include statistics and case examples, for example, for supervisors or self-regulatory bodies, the number of on-site inspections and outcomes, including any enforcement action taken. Outreach is mentioned in many of the recommended actions, and we're taking a coordinated approach to this and ensuring that targeted audiences can be reached with more than one message in any event. One example of this is targeted financial sanctions, and we have available the Sanctions Coordinator and the Director of the Financial Reporting Authority to assist with outreach in that area. Furthermore, we will be assisted by an expert from the UK Treasury who will be providing further outreach in July of this year. Training is another area that's identified in the recommended actions, for example in the area of terrorist financing. Even though this was low risk for the Cayman Islands, can we demonstrate that we're able to deal with it and we're all fully qualified to recognise it if it did happen? In all of these areas, we must demonstrate not only that we've undergone the training, but that we have improved our effectiveness as a result of it. Looking beyond the action plan, the Cayman Islands also intends to conduct international outreach to engage those who can verify the large amount of international assistance provided by the Cayman Islands, which is something the Cayman Islands has always done well. The Cayman Islands has received support from the United Kingdom government, such as the assistance of the expert in targeted financial sanctions. The Cayman Islands also wishes to engage those who may have been critical in the past or who may not fully understand the framework which the Cayman Islands does have in place. Public outreach is another important aspect of this exercise. We need to ensure that the public understands the process through which we are going and the importance of combating money laundering, terrorist financing and proliferation financing, and ensure that there is transparency in the processes that we are going through. Industry outreach and engagement is also important to ensure the industry is aware of the process we're going through, that they understand the need for action, the urgency for action, and the consequences if we don't act. It's hoped that this won't merely be a tick box exercise, but that we will strengthen the Cayman Islands anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing and counter-proliferation financing regime. We will improve the international reputation of the Cayman Islands, and we will deter and prevent criminals from utilising this jurisdiction, which must be in everyone's interest. Thank you very much.